and all the kids didn't even get it. They were supposed to be sent this link or, go to this and vote. And I heard from so many parents and kids that were like, I didn't get that. I didn't get to vote. Yeah. And then it was just like on a Friday before spring break, the principal just was like, all right, this is what we're doing. And just chose it and put it out to the community. And that has they've run with it ever since. And it's so crazy. But twice those kids chose Redmen.
Well, there's also the funding for the Helen Foster Institute. Where is that coming from?
China.
Who else? I don't know.
Okay, so
where else would it come from?
There's a large statue out front, which you guys indicated that was paid for.
It's on the city park.
Yeah, it's in the city park.
Amazing. So Tiffany runs unopposed. I got the right one right. She runs unopposed.
No.
Tiffany didn't run unopposed. No, Michelle Lambert ran unopposed.
Michelle Lambert, thank you. She ran unopposed. And where is she today? What is her position today, right now?
She's still at SUU. She works at SUU.
So that was because I believe her name was the one. And correct me if I'm wrong. Her voice was the one on the recording, right?
She's the one who says we need to guide the narrative.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's Michelle Lambert, and she was the school board president before the one we have now.
She also said that SUU knows about this, as if she's talking as if they're receiving marching orders from the university.
Right. They talk about this with SUU, and they talk about it with some people at the Paiute tribe before they even, months before any of this other stuff happens. And the Paiute tribe, they have 5 bands, and the Cedar Band is the one that is local, but they are not by any means the majority of the Native Americans in our community. I think the biggest group is the Navajos that we have here. The Paiute tribe is our official tribe that we have their land here, their reservation land here, but they don't represent the largest group of natives there.
Yeah, we're Redmen. We're not Paiute. We're not Navajo.
Yes.
We're not Hopi.
Which is why they chose Redmen, because it's an all-inclusive term that many tribes known to use that name historically over centuries even.
And we represent both ancient and modern too.
Yes.
Yeah, we have over 3,000 petroglyphs within 30 minutes any direction. There's petroglyphs 200 yards from the school board meeting room. It's ridiculous.
So here is a public hearing where a young man to show his pride and his culture, he comes out and does a dance and full gear. I mean, just look at this, guys.
It's beautiful.
Yes, his regalia is beautiful.
Let me get back to where it was. I don't want to miss a beat.
Responsibility between students, because they kind of have the understanding of, if I'm using my phone, I'm not learning X, Y, and Z from the teacher, and then my grade's going to reflect that. And so I think that when we use our cell phones in classrooms, they can become more of a tool. And I don't think that we should take that away, but we should find other ways to use them appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I need her rings because I get nervous speaking. But on behalf of me and my family, we're going to do a little show. We're proud to be Redmen.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Isn't it crazy how they all stand up and applaud that, but then they won't take what he did or what they say really into consideration?
Well, his mother speaks next, and her speech is beautiful.
Yeah.
After that,
After that,
yeah.
his mother
Right.
speaks.
So there's a really interesting.
Go ahead, Maurice. I don't want to. I'll play the speech after you talk.
It's a really interesting part to this entire thing, and I think that a lot of people who are awake or aware rather of what's going on in this country, they don't, or they understand that this wokeness, this deletion of history and representation, that it's not actually popular. That there's so many people who actually support these things and they don't see it as an insult, and they like the representation, but there's just a relenting, a never-ending force that keeps coming for these things, and it's a lot. It seems like in a lot of ways in how they did that survey, where they tried once, they didn't get the result they wanted. They tried again, slightly different. They still didn't get the result they wanted. So they put it out a third time online, made sure that the result they wanted was going to get achieved. And that's kind of how it feels with everything in American culture, is that people are kind of taken aback by this, because it's, I mean, just one day, a lot of people just realize that, oh, the Redskins are now the, what are they, the Commanders? Yeah.
Commanders.
Yeah. The Redskins are suddenly the Commanders. And they're like, what? Why?
They're the commies, like the Commanders,
Yeah.
short for commies.
Right.
Yeah.
The irony is unbelievable. It's just, it's
Mhm.
crazy how lost it is on so many people, where I'm like, holy, like,
It's
Here's
not
crazy. Here's another little bit of information. When we first formed Voice, we had 3 Native American students come to us with their parents to tell us about the humility they suffered at the high school. And it was before the change, but there were certain faculty and staff members that had said some very humiliating things to these kids. That's another reason why I'll never give up the fight. They had no right to twist those kids' minds into telling them they were too stupid to understand.
Yeah.
well, and I think the only actual report of bullying from Native American kids that's even on record, with our police department or school district, is Native American students who were bullied by the administration. After the name change, they would not stand and sing the new school song. And they were told, stand up and sing the song or you have to leave. And they wouldn't do it. And they filed a report against the administrators and the principal who did that. That is the only report of bullying even on file. And it's against the school district.
So listen carefully what Sully's mom
listen
has
to
to
what
say,
she
and then
says.
we'll fill you in on the end of that, what it meant.
Okay, let's listen.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sully's mom, and I just wanted to give you a little background about Sully, share a little bit about him, because he's so happy to share his culture. And, Sully, during the COVID, when we were doing the online schooling and we couldn't talk to anybody and we couldn't, even talk to our neighbors or whatever, this is where he felt the strongest to learn to dance. And he went out and he practiced every single day. And when we talked to him about what happened, like why, how did this just overtake you? He really has that strong feeling to dance. He said, I dance because I dance for the people who can't dance. I dance for the people who can't talk, who can't come out and do it themselves, for healing, for just all those things that he was feeling in his heart. And that's why he's dancing tonight as well, is because, some people don't have a voice. And, to put it just locally in our community, when we got out of COVID and he wanted to dance, he wanted to share it with everybody. And we contacted Canyon View High School, we contacted Cedar High School, and he wanted to dance at the halftime shows. Do a little, it takes maybe 5 minutes, as you can see, it just depends, but not very long. He just wanted to get out and share. Canyon View had him at that next game that night, and we have yet to hear back from Cedar High School. They never did, and that makes me sad. They don't dare, or they're nervous, or whatever it may be, to let somebody come and share their culture. A little kid like that feels it so strongly, it's just pushed down. You can't do it. You can't share it. And so I think that's part of why he wanted to dance. And part of, as a parent, we wanted to come out and share, not just, for the Redmen name or what that, but just to share our culture, so that you guys could feel a little bit of that spirit that, we get to feel when we go out to the powwows, when we get to, go to the ceremonies and share some of those things that are very sacred and very strong to us. For me personally, it feels like we can't sometimes because of this that's going on, the controversy, and I just hope that we gather together as a community and do what's best for our community, not what everybody else is doing or that. I don't want to disrespect anybody or, we're not about that either, but just, listen to our community members and see what's in their heart and how they're feeling as well. So thank you for letting us share.
Thank you for sharing.
This is exactly the reason why we helped Holden Armenta get to the Super Bowl. This is the reason why, is because Native Americans are getting to the point where they're ashamed to even show themselves. That anybody seeing a Native American, it's now deemed racist. Like if we take part in our own culture and do a dance or wear a headdress or however you want to represent it, when Native Americans take part in their own culture, it is deemed racist. Isn't that insane? Holy crap.
And I say this, kind of where, go ahead.
No, this is complete racism, and it's disguised as something that's like sensitive to the cause or respectful. Right. But you're erasing the culture. You're ignoring the culture. You're paying no homage to it. If they were anywhere they cared about, like you said, the word red versus Redmen, what is the connotation? Where does that come from? It looks like it has communist sources. These people are at the heads of each one of these departments, or elected officials are tied back to this university, which is tied to this Confucius Institute by another name. People need to understand the bigger picture here.
Absolutely do. And that's what we started in June of 23, presented with the booklet. And then for the next few months, we read letters from alumni who are American Indian. We read letters from Naga board members. We gave speeches, and Julia Casus spoke in August, September, October, November, and December. I don't think she was January, though, was she?
No, Sully was January.
Okay, so 5 months she spoke, and she's Navajo. She's alumni to Cedar City, and shared her story of how, well, you know what, Andrea, why don't you tell that story?
Yeah, Julie was in my class at Cedar High School, and she came from off the reservation in New Mexico, I think, to come here to go to school. Her parents wanted to give her an opportunity to education, and she lived with a family in Cedar City. They are her Cedar City parents. And it was, you can imagine being putting on a trail raised bus and sent as a 12-year-old to some other state to go to school. And they took her in. They're her family. She calls them her family. And she felt very lost and very alone. And it's very different culture. And they took her to a Cedar High football game. And she walked into the stadium and saw the drums and saw the name Redmen. And she says, I knew I was home. She graduated from Cedar High. She graduated from the university. And her kids wanted to come back to Cedar City to go to university.
And they own the Navajo Crafting Company locally.
Yes. And Julie is a beautiful silversmith. She makes jewelry and is there at her daughter's store in town.
And she is a woman of such inner strength.
No, she's got an incredible energy, and she has spoken at many school board meetings. And this last school board meeting, that they had that was so public, where they, were voting on whether to reinstate or put it on the ballot. The first 10 minutes of this meeting, you listen to these 7 elected representatives argue amongst themselves about whether or not they're going to silence this one person.
Well,
Julia.
It's because of Ben Johnson was the one that brought that up.
They were terrified to let her speak because she's so powerful and so authentic.
Let's say who they is. I mean,
not all of them. No, there was a couple of them that were arguing because some of them knew, like, we can't silence her. You cannot do that. It's a public meeting, and she has spoke so many times. But it was just shocking, where these 7 people are trying to reestablish trust and transparency, and they start a meeting out trying to silence this.
Well, Ben Johnson, the president, I looked it up. The school board handbook and the district handbook both say for public comment that you state your name, your residence, and what school district you're in. It never limits anybody outside. It doesn't ever say you specifically you can't speak. So Ben Johnson reads a statement that it is limited to residents, students, and employees of the school.
Right. He tried to pass a motion for that, for them to vote on.
Well, it wasn't a motion for, he stated that as if it was policy. It's not policy. He stated as policy.
So he stood up and lied as if he were reading something that wasn't even in front of him.
Exactly.
To try to make it
The
seem like
woman has spoke since August every single month, and all
But
of a sudden
was-
she was off limits.
It was a packed room, and they knew how powerful she's just undeniable. And you can listen to her speech because she does end up speaking at the end. And
these are outspoken members of the socialist regime, right? These people are devout socialists. Who was it? There was a couple.
I'm going to say that.
Are you talking about the board members?
Yeah, they're
not all board members. We've got some fantastic board members that are well aware of what's going on.
No, but there were some. And I don't
sure
remember
seems. It sure seems like these.
I have it over here.
Public. It sure seems like these public meetings are a nuisance to them that they're just trying to get through.
Oh yes.
Well, this
hate us.
This subject is a nuisance to them.
But
we're not going to let it drop. Somebody needs to figure out what to do.
They're
and
trying
I have faith that they will eventually do it one way or another. But
they're trying to pass another bond, is what it is. They need our money.
Did you guys see that the kind of support you're giving, the kind of support you guys are giving to bring the name back? Did you ever see that same kind of support to get rid of it?
No.
Well, I mean, no, but once I dug deeper and I knew, I know the roots and these organizations, and they are anti-American. And ironically, they're a bunch of rich old white guys that the opposition claims to hate. And it's just like, well, you're doing everything, you're erasing yourselves because they said so. And it's so crazy that they can't see it, where it's like this, they hate the white men, and they're doing their bidding. It's insane.
We're laughing. We're like, okay, well, maybe we should just let the Redmen go and we'll just name it the white men. And then what will happen?
That would be
accused of racism.
It would be an honor because that's what you do. But like as a culture and as a society, where it's like they're so anti-white, right? They want to blame everything on the white men, but they are allowing our society and country to be completely whitewashed, where it's like all we have left is this like.
That's the trick.
Quaker on the Quaker Oats thing. It's like that's who we have left.
Don't forget Mr. Clean.
That's why
Mr. Clean.
I refer to the Democratic Party as the Confederacy 2.0, and
It's
that's the reason
insane.
why
Yes.
it's nuts. But I was alluding to the guy Brad Cook.
Well, he was the dean at the university, and he's the one who brought in the Confucius Institute.
Okay,
he was the
so
provost.
Brad Cook is a member of
the provost.
He's a member of the DSA alongside of Rashida Tlaib. For those of you who don't know, so we're still making socialist connections to communist party movements behind the scenes, which is at the root of these name changes.
And can I add at the meeting in February when they eradicated the name, we show up to the school board meeting. There's a whole bunch of "Not Your Mascot" signs, professionally done. They have it was
the Center for American Justice.
No, it wasn't that. No, the signs weren't. The signs were the Answer Coalition.
Yeah,
which is another
Answer Coalition.
Yeah, Answer Coalition is there with Thalia. Yeah, that's the Thalia Guerrero.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's who that is. And so the ACLJ, the American Center for Law and Justice, that is a Jay Sekulow thing. I would be very surprised if he was involved in
it was
the Center for American Progress. Though that's the one where the book that they gave the committee. That's the organization that gives them the step-by-step guide, and that's the John Podesta Foundation.
Andrew, you were saying tell them about the meeting. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, well, it was just that they had all these professionally made signs.
The meeting.
that says "Not Your Mascot" on the bottom. Answer Coalition.
Okay, she's coming in and out.
I think
I
that
can
might,
hear.
Okay, is this
I
better?
can hear her just good.
I was fiddling with
You
my.
can hear her right now?
I can
Yeah,
hear her.
I can hear just fine.
Okay, I can't, but I'll trust you guys.
Well, I just said I was shocked to walk into the meeting because it was a surprise to all of us what was going on, and they had professionally made signs that they would have known in advance, that said not your mascot with the name Answer Coalition on the
And they
bottom.
were all college students.
They were, and they got credit for being there. Later, some of those kids said, "I'm just here because my professor gave me credit for coming." So it's like they
Wow.
had to stack that room with college kids, these university kids who they didn't care. They
Who are
cared about
getting extra credit.
They were getting credit from their
Wow.
They said that, and the thing is you mentioned Brad Cook, being the provost, his son and his wife,
Now wife, girlfriend. Then
they're the head of the SUU for Socialism Club over there. They were the main ones, but her mother, get this, she was a previous school board member, Becky Bronson.
So here's the Answer Coalition, guys. And here's what you got to understand about the Answer Coalition. The Answer Coalition are pro-Palestinian radicals.
Yes, they are.
And they are an anti-Israeli group, which are also connected to the DSA. And you'll see that these people are all receiving their money from outside of the country. As a matter of fact, when I looked into this yesterday, they were actually said to have ties to the PLO. For those of you who don't know, that's the Palestinian Liberation Organization. They are a radical group who was also connected to Obama at one point. So listen, it still goes back to the same root. People,
Right.
we're not fighting people within our own culture, within our own country, trying to preserve it just against board members and elected officials. What we have just rooted out right now, and what we just went through, is we've rooted out the fact that we have foreign involvement in our local governments and our local universities on all levels, all the way down to the school board level, that are being affected by China.
China and the Israeli, and not Israeli, but
Palestinians.
In the
Like-
Palestinian
all connected. They're all anti-American groups. They're all trying to destroy us from within and succeeding. And we are up against these massive, huge organizations that are so well funded, and they just run like clockwork. And they've been doing it for decades. And so they know what they're doing, and they're hard to beat.
These Answer Coalition folks are involved with Native American tribes, and a very small percentage of Native American tribes across the United States. And you'll note, and we've had our own run-ins, Maurice and I, with those who think or treat members of the Palestine as if they're just a distant tribe.
Right.
They kind of got that mentality, and that's how they look at it. And it's terrible. But really, what they're doing is they're taking people that have little to no means. They've created an organization around them to make sure those people with little to no means now receive a paycheck. Now they have a paycheck. They have notoriety. They belong to an organization. They have a position. And now if they back off of the narrative in any way, shape, or form, they lose their paycheck. So this isn't about what they believe. It's about what they're getting paid to say.
So can you go over that Thalia Guerrero and how she's associated with the Redmen and with this organization?
Well, the speech that she gave, the speech that she gave, the march that she was involved in, I looked her up, which is how I found the Answer Coalition.
She was on the change.org petition against the Redmen.
So when I looked her up, that's how I found the Answer Coalition. That was how one thing led to the other. So she was actually speaking at an event. And then I looked into the Helena Kanash, young girl, who was, like I said, very meager means, probably 16-ish when she got involved with the anti-Redmen movement. A little older now. She has a child. She's doing much better for herself. Involved in a lot of social issues, SJW type. But what I don't see is any kind of connection to a 9 to 5 or anything like that. Just to be honest with you, you don't see it. But all of a sudden, you can see her affiliation with the Guerrero chick. These types of organizations, which are the ones putting these people on a pedestal. That's what they're doing. They're putting these people on pedestals and giving them a soapbox to speak from. And that fame and that clout is addicting to those folks. They don't. They've created a vacuum. If I start paying you thousands of dollars a month or whatever it may be, and your whole lifestyle is then derived from what I give or don't give you, that's essentially what we're up against.
For those of you on Twitter, or X rather, formerly known as Twitter, think of a Harry Sisson, I think his name is. This is the kind of influencers that we're up against. It's the ones who are paid to say the things that they say, and it's regardless of the truth. They're doing this because that's their job. That's what they're told to do. And one of the funny things that I wanted to bring up a little bit earlier was that why is it that progress for America includes erasing Native Americans? I don't understand that particular fact, and how that they can come out and say that they're progressive and they want to help this country, but it always seems that they have to erase a certain group of people or deny their existence or remove their representation in order to progress. It's like, okay, well, we want to be the really inclusive ones, so you guys have to leave so that way we can be inclusive with ourselves. That's kind of what it feels like.
Well, and it's just about what's their definition of progress? Apparently their definition of progress is an all white America where no one is allowed to be an individual or having our culture doesn't matter, our history, our background, none of it's going to matter, because I think this is just a globalist anti-American movement, and none of us get to have a history or culture.
Now, guys,
so when they say progress,
we're changing it. We're changing that. We're bringing it back.
I'm going to take one more pause for the sponsors. Are going to come back and close out with you. Give us just a second.
Military use when they need unlimited power during critical missions. Civilians like you can now get their hands on the exact same technology within 24 hours for pennies on the dollar. Folks, as a former infantry soldier, I can tell you this is the best and cheapest way to get reliable, unlimited energy. And no, I'm not talking about regular generators or the expensive solar panels. You don't have to be an electrician to do it. There's no maintenance needed. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And the best part, you won't need to rely on the power grid anymore. Click below now and hit play.
No,
guys, go ahead into the description of the podcast. You'll see that in there. They were recently purchased by My Patriot Supply too. Great company. So go check those guys out. Like I said, we've dealt with the types of folks that are this, affiliated with PLO, the whole, anti-Semitic movement, which seemed to be embraced by the left in its entirety. And now they've gone so far as to adopt certain people from the Native community, and they do the same thing. They just money flows one way, and they have toy soldiers that they can wind up and send in any direction that they want.
To make it seem like it's popular, they prop them up as well. So not only do they pay these people, but they make them seem like they're popular, and so it tricks a lot of people into thinking that this is the narrative. This is the popular thing that people are doing right now. This is what people actually want. When in reality, like what you guys are displaying and what you guys have shown is that it's not popular. People don't like it. People want to be able to be represented in their culture, even when it comes to to Redman instead of the Reds. Ugh, I can't believe that.
I believe that, and
it's only because they're not smart enough to understand, Maurice. If you were just a little bit smarter, you would really get why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
We're just not there yet.
Well, they love that victimhood mentality is so strong, and just the when you throw out the racist and call people racism, and it's just like this political correctness that has destroyed the First Amendment without actually violating it, where it's like you tell people they shouldn't say something versus they can't, and it's the same results. Think people
you control speech, you control their thoughts.
People are
It
scared
is
to say
literally a form of mind control.
to be true. They know it's wrong, but so many people are shamed into speaking up because, you know, of being called racist. And it's insane. The insanity.
Well, lady,
insane.
I'm gonna give you guys the last word. Go ahead and whichever one of you look right into the camera. We have approximately right now, just on X, probably about 1,500 or so people. Say what you want to say.
Well, right now we're fighting the fight. We're hoping that we're making progress. We've got some exciting things that will be happening this week and next week. Hopefully we will see a change. And when we do, we've got a big process in front of us because we have to redo the campus. We have to re-educate the kids. And our goal is to set up an educational system within the schools to teach Native American history. We want it taught to the kids. And you know what? Frankly, some adults.
Where can anybody follow you or support you or anything like that? Is there any way to reach out and help and support? And
well, if people want the support, they can message me on Facebook. Sorry, I don't do X that much. I'm just too busy to get on X with my phone and I go crazy. But Facebook, we are Voices of Iron County Education.
We also
yeah, go ahead, Andrea.
Well, I was going to say we also have a website, ironcountyvoice.com, and it's got the booklet on that we gave out, and it's got that whole clip that you showed at that school board meeting.
With the transcript, too.
It's in the description of the video, guys. It's all in the description of the video, so all the things they're talking about, they're all there.
If they want to get monetarily, we have not been able to get the what's the waste serving
the Stripe account.
Yeah, we're having problems getting that because we're a political PAC. So
Venmo won't let us.
Yeah, Venmo.
Well, maybe Eddie can help you there.
I would love that if you could. That would really help us out, Eddie.
I do have a lot of people that want to help. A lot of community members that are. I mean, they got their checkbooks. They're out and ready, but
I'm depositing checks like crazy.
Yes.
In fact, I got a call tonight from. I won't say the name on the on this podcast, but I got a call from a very influential person in town tonight just before this started. He says, "I want to help. Tell me how."
Okay, so what I'll do because I have like 3 Stripe accounts in all those give, send, goes, and everything else. I evidently I'm pretty good at setting those up. How about we do that? How about we set up the give, send, go, and
absolutely.
I'll do it under my account, and then you guys will support you the whole way. And like I said, it'll be about 2 or 3 weeks out. I'm coming out, and then probably again a month after that for my retreat. Awesome. I'll be out. I'm up in Utah at least 3-4 times a year. I love it up there.
I love it here. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
But
luckily, I mean, you know, when we talk about the reinstating and the cost, it'll be minimal because our school still has everything from before, all the banners, the signage, you know, it's all still there. This will be a very low cost to the taxpayers.
They keep it all in the cupboard, don't they? The Indians in the cupboard again.
Oh my God!
It's in the basement. It's in the basement of the high school.
The basement.
We requested, and some business people in the community requested that they save it. So there will be
and a lot of it is still there. I mean, you saw the mosaic on the floor. There's still a huge concrete sign in front of the school, which is now the back, which is so weird that they changed it. But anyways, it still says Home of the Redmen, and it's all still there. It's beautiful.
Consider us the podcast arm of this issue until it's concluded. So I work with you guys on getting funding set up, and maybe a landing page, and we'll do some other things in order to drive funding that way. So guys, you heard it here already. The same way you got behind us on the Holden issue, same thing. There's no difference here. It's the same damn thing. So they need your help. They need your support. And I'm going to be putting out a way to actually do that. Maurice and I will be putting out on both of our accounts. And if you are able to give, please give. I'm going to dedicate a space on the webpage to it as well. And I'll be going out there to look for hello from Utah, by the way. So what's up, Double? What's up, Double? So I'll be coming out there. I want to talk.
You can put out the emails of our school board and our superintendent, and people can contact them, you know, and tell them, you know, they're positive. And I really do want it to be positive. There's so much positive history surrounding this and so much to lose, you know, and I do believe it's like over 200 schools that have changed their names. And that is such a loss for our country and every community. And if they can just reach out to our school board and our superintendent and administrators and tell them, you know, just plead a case of this is so important to keep and for every community around.
To reinstate.
Yes, to reinstate this name and what it really means.
Reclaim the name, as we say.
Reclaim the name. So yes,
there are doers
important.
And there are supporters, guys. There are people that go out and do the things that other people wish they had time to do. And then there are people that actually do it. But listen,
tired,
guys. So if you're unable to go out and do these things and push these issues, support those who can. It's the same thing Maurice and I tell you about our locals accounts and these types of things. This is where our heart's at. This is where our passion's at. These types of issues. So for the same reason, this is why we tell you guys all the time. If you support us, we'll support you. We know the causes you believe in. We know what we're fighting for, and you know we're not going to back down. So same thing with these ladies. We're going to set up a way to get them some funding and get them support and get them basically. We're going to be spamming this everywhere, and I'm going to give you a spot on the website, and I'm also going to set up that Gifts and Go with a link for you, and we'll create a special video to promote that. We'll talk about it offline. But as usual, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bless you guys.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.